Painting animals is a beautiful and rewarding way to capture the essence of nature's creatures. Whether you're painting a fierce lion, a playful dog, or a colorful bird, each animal brings its own set of challenges and joys. In this video, we'll walk through the process of painting animals, focusing on techniques that help you portray the unique features of each creature with accuracy and creativity. First, let's talk about observation. Before you even pick up a brush, it's important to closely study the animal you wish to paint. Take time to observe its form, texture, and the way light interacts with its body. Look at reference photos or, if possible, observe the animal in real life. Pay attention to details like the shape of the body, the texture of the fur or feathers, and the placement of features like eyes, ears, and limbs. The more familiar you are with the animal, the better you'll be able to capture its personality and physicality in your painting. Next, we need to focus on sketching. Start by lightly sketching the basic shape of the animal with a pencil. This includes the outline of the body, head, and limbs. Don't worry about details at this stage. Focus on getting the proportions and general posture right. Use simple shapes like circles and ovals to map out the head, body, and joints, helping you establish the animal's structure. Once you're happy with the basic shapes, you can begin refining the sketch and adding more specific details like facial features and limbs. Now that you have your outline, it's time to start painting. One of the most important things to keep in mind when painting animals is texture. Fur, feathers, scales, and skin all have distinct textures, and each one requires a different approach. For fur, you'll want to use short, quick brush strokes to create the appearance of softness and movement. Layering your paint helps to build depth and realism, so don't hesitate to add more layers to your fur or feathers, gradually darkening or lightening areas to reflect how light falls on the animal's body. For animals with smooth skin or scales, like reptiles or birds, you'll want to use longer, smoother brush strokes to achieve that sleek look. When painting skin, it's important to capture subtle highlights and shadows to give the surface dimension and depth. Pay attention to areas where light naturally hits, such as the tops of the animal's head, back, or tail. Use these highlights to create a sense of three-dimensionality in your painting. Next, let's talk about color. When choosing colors for your animal painting, it's important to remember that animals often have a wide range of hues within their fur, skin, or feathers. For example, a lion's mane might have tones of golden yellows, deep oranges, and soft browns. By layering these different tones, you can create a rich, realistic look. For animals with darker fur, like a black dog, use a mix of dark and light colors to bring out the details, rather than relying solely on black. A bit of brown, blue, or even purple can add depth and warmth to black fur, making it feel more alive. When working on the eyes, be sure to spend extra time on them, as they bring the animal to life. The eyes are the focal point of your painting and should reflect the character and emotion of the animal. Use a lighter color for the whites of the eyes and add a bit of shine with a small dot of white paint to mimic the light reflecting off the eyes. The pupils should have depth, so use darker tones around the edges and lighter hues towards the center. Shadows and highlights are another essential component when painting animals. Shadows help to define the form and give your painting a sense of realism, while highlights bring focus and dimension. Observe where the light falls on the animal and how it interacts with the fur or skin. Apply darker shades in areas where shadows fall, such as under the belly, the side of the face, or between the legs. Use lighter tones for areas where the light directly hits the animal, like the top of the head or the back. One of the final steps is adding details and finishing touches. These could include highlights in the fur, additional textures in the eyes, or subtle color variations in the skin. Remember, small details can make a big difference in bringing your animal painting to life. Don't be afraid to use a smaller brush for fine details like whiskers, veins, or texture in the fur. Lastly, step back and evaluate your painting. Take a moment to assess the balance of colors, shadows, and highlights, and make adjustments where needed. Sometimes, giving the painting a little time to dry and revisiting it later can help you see areas that need refinement. Painting animals requires practice and patience, but with these techniques, you'll be well on your way to creating lifelike and expressive animal portraits. Whether you're aiming for realism or a more abstract approach, the key is to observe, understand the subject, and experiment with your painting techniques. With time, you'll develop your unique style and be able to capture the soul of any animal you choose to paint. 4 Mini